Hey Trekkies, Dan Gunther here. Welcome to another episode of The Week in Trek. Well, as a lot of you know, the Star Trek Mission New York convention is just around the corner, coming up at the beginning of next month in Manhattan. One interesting lineup for that convention are Meyer and Kirsten Beyer, both writers for the new Star Trek Discovery series. They will be hosting a panel there in which they will be having a lot of new updates about the series. We'll try and bring you those as soon as they're available, so stay tuned for that. Speaking of Star Trek Discovery, Bryan Fuller recently talked about the USS Discovery design process. If you read the comments from some of my later videos, you'll see that a lot of the reaction to the ship has been very mixed. However, the ship that was revealed in the footage they showed at the San Diego Comic-Con is not the final design of the ship. Apparently there have been a number of changes made, and although the final look of the ship is still inspired by the Ralph McQuarrie designs from Planet of the Titans, the ship does look quite a bit different. Apparently there has been a lot of different changes made to the ship since what we saw there. I don't know about all of you, but I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what the final form of this new ship will be, and hopefully getting a few new models of the ship. Ben Robinson of the Star Trek Starships collection from Eagle Moss has recently tweeted that things look a little hopeful for the collection getting ships from Star Trek Discovery. Speaking of Starship models, we recently got a sneak preview of next year's Hallmark Star Trek Keepsake ship, USS Franklin. I'm pretty excited about this. I love that ship in Star Trek Beyond, and I'm looking forward to having one hanging from my Christmas tree. Speaking of the Hallmark Star Trek ornaments, I recently purchased the 3 that are currently for sale. Look for an upcoming video in which I do a bit of an unboxing and review of those ornaments. And finally, a little bit of news regarding Star Trek Deep Space Nine, which is definitely near the top of my favorite Star Treks. Revealed at the Star Trek Las Vegas convention, Star Trek Deep Space Nine producer and showrunner Ira Steven Behr announced that a brand new Deep Space Nine documentary is undergoing preparation right now and will be released in the near future, hopefully in 2017. I love behind-the-scenes stuff, and I'm really looking forward to this documentary. It looks like they talk about a lot of things to do with Deep Space Nine, including what an hypothetical episode 1 of an 8th season of Deep Space Nine would look like, with a few of the show's star writers participating in a discussion about that. Now, apparently, Behr was also able to get almost all of the cast, both the primary and the recurring characters, to participate in the project. However, unfortunately, Avery Brooks did not sign on, which will unfortunately be a bit of a glaring omission from this project, but it still looks to be a really exciting project. Keep your eyes out for this one. In the meantime, if you like behind-the-scenes stuff, and especially about Deep Space Nine, and if you haven't already, you should get yourself a copy of the Deep Space Nine Companion by Terry J. Erdman and Paula M. Block. Some really great behind-the-scenes stuff here, produced over all 7 years of the series. Block and Erdman were on set for most of the series, conducting interviews with cast, writers, producers, everyone involved in the series. This is an incredible book and something I take off my shelf frequently to look through. Not a lot of book news this week, however, if you're like me and enjoy Deep Space Nine, you should check out this week's episode of Literary Treks. Bruce Gibson, Matthew Rushing, and I talk about Star Trek Archives No. 4, The Best of Deep Space Nine, a collection of early Star Trek Deep Space Nine comics from the Malibu run of the series. Click the link in the description to check that out. We had a lot of fun doing this episode, and I think you'll enjoy it. Well, that's all for this week. Please check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Links in the description. Like this video if you liked it. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Leave us a comment, we're always happy to hear from you. One thing that somebody commented recently was that my use of the term Trekkies at the beginning of the episodes is insulting in some way. I personally don't feel that way. I consider myself a Trekkie. I've been a Trekkie or a Trekker for most of my life. I think both terms are perfectly acceptable to me anyway, but I want to hear what you think. Is Trekkie an insult? How do you feel about being called a Trekkie? Would you prefer to be called a Trekker? Let me know. I'm honestly very curious about this. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, live long and prosper. My name is Dan Gunther, and among other things, online I have a website, www.treklit.com, where I review Star Trek novels, both old and new. I also co-host the Literary Treks podcast with Matthew Rushing and Bruce Gibson, in which we talk about the world of Star Trek books and comics. Be sure to check out some of the other videos on this channel, including episode reviews, Star Trek product reviews, and videos about all corners of the Star Trek universe and beyond.